This is Grindhouse Courthouse After Hours.
Welcome to After Hours.
After Hours.
Today, we'll be discussing the 1994 film Timecop.
Timecop. We hated it.
It wasn't good.
It was bad.
No one enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed while watching it with you guys again. Like, I have to reiterate that point where it was a fun movie to watch with friends, but I probably would not watch this by myself. I enjoyed it.
It was a struggle to watch by myself. I just wanted to do anything else. I was like,
I would put this on par with like Tokyo Showdown though, as like it's fun to watch as a group. I don't think I would ever watch Tokyo Showdown by myself.
I'd have more fun watching Tokyo Showdown by myself than Timecop by myself.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
And
too.
that's
I'm just saying it's kind of like on that level. I wouldn't watch either of them by myself.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, where Little Tokyo or Showdown in Little Tokyo had some charm to it, or just like some moments that you just questioned why they're filming this movie, or they knew they were making fun of it. Timecop did not do that. It did not acknowledge its existence. It wasn't making like poking fun of itself. It was just playing it straight throughout the whole thing, but not realizing what it was producing. So it's hard to say, yeah, you can watch it and just have a blast or like make fun of it because
I think
so we actually had predictions.
I was going to say, I think
Walker.
this is like part of the reason this entire thing exists is because like of all of those late 80s, 90s action stars had to have their at least one sci-fi movie. Like Arnold had Total Recall and Terminator. Sly had Demolition Man. Judge Dredd, that counts as kind of a sci-fi movie too, I think.
Yeah.
This
Totally
was probably his only
definitely.
one, Jean-Claude. So I think he probably...
Universal Soldier,
yeah.
did he?
Universal Soldier.
Yeah, but that's not really science fiction so much as a guy who's
I
like...
think it dropped off from a junk planet. It's kind of sci-fi.
No, that's Soldier. The
That was
1990s.
That's with Kurt
Russell.
Russell.
Universal Soldier.
Universal Soldiers, they get frozen.
Yeah.
Right.
He's in the jungle in Vietnam.
Yes.
I watched it last week, so I remember it very well.
Oh, they've already rebooted that, right? Or-
No, they've just made 6 of them or whatever.
Okay. Well, it's getting rebooted for sure.
Most likely.
Well, like, there's an interesting concept there. Unlike Timecop, I don't think you could remake Timecop. Maybe if you follow the
We
comics
talked about
closely,
we wrote the script for Timecop 2.
but it's almost a completely different movie. Timecop 2, your version of it sounds fucking amazing, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
But like, if you just had to make Timecop, the only thing that's interesting about Timecop, the reason why we remember it, is Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I think Timecop 2 would just be like, basically stick with like the theme and still have an antagonist, but like ultimately how the movie slowly shifts into like the butterfly effect where like the cop just keeps fucking up timelines for himself and can't get back and just kind of loses himself in these like divergent timelines that he keeps cutting himself out of by trying to solve problems. That's why I think Butterfly Effect, it was poorly executed because it was like fucking Ashton Kutcher and like Amy Smart or something, and like the plot was stupid, but like in theory that should have been a great movie.
Do you remember that scene in The Butterfly Effect when he like slams his hands down onto the thing as a kid, and then the dude in prison is like, "Oh, you've got the stigmata on your hands," but he would have come in with those scars, so the guy wouldn't have seen anything.
Do you
Right.
remember the scene in Butterfly Effect when he's a fetus and he strangles himself with his own umbilical cord? do you not
Hey, that
recall
happened to me, okay? It's not.
Oh, I don't remember.
That's how the movie ends, because he knows there's a problem. He can't keep time traveling. There's consequences to this.
Man,
Well,
that got dark as fuck.
Timecop sucks.
I think there is
Okay,
a universe. Like if you wanted to do Timecop again, it wouldn't be a singular movie. It would be a serialized series where like each episode he goes back to a different time and solves like some sort of smaller crime. Like he goes back to that whole thing in 1929. That would just be a whole episode where he goes to the stock market crash.
Yeah.
You're kind of leaning towards Stargate, I feel like.
Well,
Yeah.
ultimately,
Timecop actually did have a TV.
And that would be great. I agree.
So Timecop actually did have a TV series. It was scheduled for 13 episodes and got canceled after the 9th because it was so bad. So this was back in 97, trying to ride the high of it. And it was the same idea where each episode he'd be going back in history to prevent certain measures. So he was hunting like Jack the Ripper at one point.
So there's like 9 episodes out there somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
Floating around on Timecop.
Dave, are you going to watch that after you finish watching all the Highlander TV series?
Oh man, I haven't pick that back up.
Oh,
And, like,
man,
season
you
halfway-
need to get to the
Halfway
episode
through
with the
season
handicap.
2, I
Immortal.
failed to pick it back up.
Well, I guess
I just want you to see that episode where the handicapped immortal puts his head on the train tracks.
I think I'll just go right to that one.
Because it fucked me up.
That reminds me of Inception.
But in a bad
Why?
way.
In a bad way, yes. Very bad.
No, there's no bad or good way. It just reminds me of it.
Well, that's the plot point in Inception, where he's like, you know where the train will take you, but you don't want to go there or whatever. And then they lay down on the tracks.
Oh, okay.
And then she's like, I think I'm still dead, and jumps out a window. And then he's like, I've got to get my kids back. And at the end of the movie, you don't know if he gets his kids back or not.
Right.
Any other movies I can sum up in 30 seconds?
Any other movies you want to spoil for the audience? I know like Inception's been out for a while, but we are destroying time travel movies right now.
we already destroyed Loki, didn't we?
Yes, we destroyed Loki and we destroyed Predestination as well. So
Well,
apologies.
I think we did not. I think we basically explained what they explained in episode
Oh,
1
did
of Loki.
Yeah, so you're mentioning just like if they were to do time cop again, it would have to be a series. But like Loki has done this now. You have the TVA, which is basically the TEC existing outside of time and space. So that's where no loopholes can form.
Actually, you're right. Yeah, like Loki is essentially like perfected this whole storyline, right?
Well,
To an
it's
extent.
more interesting than what we got with Timecop.
But you know what's funny about Loki is they muddled it up with all the superhero
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like if they take out the superhero stuff, it's an even better story. What I want
Yes.
is a buddy cop time traveling duo with Owen Wilson and Loki.
I just want the two of them just like shooting one-liners at one another, and that's it.
Just trying to solve mysteries of time
Yeah.
and just being like not actually engaging the big bad boss. Like they're down here. That stuff's happening up with the Avengers, and they're like, oh yeah, stuff's happening up there. We're just trying to figure out who killed this random guy or something like that. That's what I wanted out of Loki. I was so disappointed when it immediately went to
Just
I wanted
right
more-
off the rails.
Yeah, and I'm the opposite where I'm very excited for what they're going to be doing next with like Kang.
Ugh.
But
I want more jet skis. Go back to the jet skis.
Yeah, like what are the stakes in Loki? All of time.
Isn't the new Ant-Man movie supposed to be like that's like the big boss of that one?
yeah, Kang's going to be, so you're going to get a version or a variant of Kang in Ant-Man, Quantumania, but you're going to probably see Kang scattered throughout the next 3 phases. And again,
Well,
spoilers.
he'll be everywhere, right?
Yeah, spoilers. If anybody read comics, they're probably going to pull from like the idea of Battle World, where you have again, like these multiverses converging together, so there can only be one. And then you have God Doom, but they're going to just like tie this in with Kang somehow.
They're just gonna print more money though.
No, they're gonna try and reboot the Fantastic Four, and it's gonna fucking fail again, just like it does every single time.
Hey guys, welcome to our podcast. We're going to do the 10 best things about Kang and why Marvel is.
Okay, we're getting back on track. Back on track. We're talking about
That's not the kind of show we do.
we're not going to hit you with like 10 favorites. We're going to talk about our predictions about Timecop because we decided to do predictions for this movie. I'm not.
All right, here's my top 10 predictions for Timecop. So,
Do you have the notes in front of you? I don't think you do. If not,
Okay, 10 Easter eggs you missed in Timecop. Did you notice that Jean-Claude Van Damme's ass was better than yours?
it
Everyone
was.
Everyone
objectively.
noticed that because I could see all of the striations of his butt muscles and every little hair out of his anus in that one close-up shot.
If you look in the top right corner, you can see the mascot for the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's an allusion to when Jean-Claude Van Damme murders the Pittsburgh Penguin mascot in a dishwashing machine in
sudden death.
Sudden Death.
95. He did that movie right after with the same director. That's a little tidbit for you.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Woof.
Did you notice that katana up in the right-hand corner when he was getting murdered by his house was exploding? Yeah, that's the katana from the Kumatai, which he won.
Get a little blood sport.
Bloodsport.
Kumatai rules.
Shidoshi, I will honor you in.
I don't have any of the prediction.
No
I-
one has.
I have
Okay,
them too.
so Matthew and I will go back and forth. You want to take the first? Actually,
Oh.
I'll take the first one, being you can read yours. So Tom's prediction. So we had an idea of what era or what time period the Max Walker would go to, and Tom predicted that he was going to focus in the 1940s for some odd reason. And that reason was basically to just have sex with his own grandmother. Jean-Claude Van Damme would then later on go to try and destroy the time machines and the time cops, and they would live their life forward. So he was preventing the TCE or the TEC from existing, and then there'd be no
We
time
can't
travel.
live in the past, Adam. We must live our lives forward. Time travel forces us to think backwards, but we must seize the means of production and fuck our own grandmas or what.
That is in Das Kapital, actually.
Forward, not backward. Upward, not forward. Forever twirling.
Well, I just thought the 40s would be like more fun than present day, right?
Yeah.
But
What's so special with 94? How is that special?
that was the year the movie was released. The most important year,
Yeah, but
present day.
we were predicting what era mainly Jean-Claude Van Damme would go back to, and we have for Tom 1940s because we thought that'd be the most interesting era. Dave's prediction was he would go to 2 points. He would go to the medieval times, but then he would also go to the distant future of the 2100s. But then also,
Yeah, and that got shut down very quick.
Yeah,
that was
so-
really, really sad.
In the second scene, they said not allowed.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, okay, there goes my fucking.
but then you also suggested that there's going to be no type of butterfly effects, and it's only a fun time chase movie where Jean-Claude Van Damme catches the bad guy and takes him into time prison. Kind of didn't happen.
Yeah, no, that happened.
Well, you almost caught that guy into time prison before they're like, your sentence is death, and then drop him onto a car.
Can we talk about for a second what that system of justice is?
Yeah.
So the guy's committing that was bizarre.
Hard and
So
cold,
they're-
I believe.
Stern,
Oh my god.
but fair.
Isn't the system of justice, so for the people who didn't, I don't know if we actually went over this, so the guy Jean-Claude and the partner are falling out of a building, and then he goes beep boop beep boop and goes back to the present, and then they sentence him. It's just like in a dingy dark room, and there are these 3 people that said, yeah, you're guilty, death, that's what we sentence you to.
Well, they look at each other first to confirm that they all think that he's guilty, and then
Yeah,
they
but
kill
there's
him
probably
immediately.
like they didn't even
But-
that woman didn't even give her other partners time to even interject at all. Like, just this fucking Janice is taking over this place anyway. Like, anyway, so the sentence is that they sentence him to death, but the way they do it is they send him back to 1929 to continue falling out of the building and splat onto the ground.
But so another problem with that scene is earlier in the 1920s, he was listening to a cassette player. Like he had technology from
Oh,
the
yeah.
future back in the 1920s. And there was a police officer that witnessed that man travel through time or like through a wormhole to fall onto that car and die. So is that not creating a ripple? Is that not causing any type of consequences with time there?
No, that guy was old and he didn't know what he was. Everyone said, "Yo, you're crazy, Bill. Don't worry about him."
How many times has that happened to us in reality, though, where someone actually saw something impressive and was like, fuck you, Tom, you didn't see that. Please believe me.
Every day.
But isn't that creating like they're essentially just dropping people? Like this guy exists in 2004 or 1990, whatever. He exists in the 2000s. And then they just essentially dropped his body back in 1929. So 1929 has a body that nobody knows who it is or who he belongs to.
No, but how did he have like the office and stuff? Like he had like his secretary knew him.
Well, the implication is that he was doing it a lot.
How did he
For a
get
long
all
time.
that? So he was like there for like years.
Yeah,
to build
to set up that. Yeah.
reputation.
Yeah, probably back and forth a lot, but yeah. The implication he's been there a while.
But, like, wouldn't someone notice?
Time
'Cause
cops, their special fancy computers catch that. Like,
why are we sending Bill back to the 20s again? This doesn't make any sense. Guys, it's just criminals. I just have to go, okay? Load
I'm
me
catching a real big fish here. I'm going undercover.
in. Yeah,
yeah,
right?
indeed.
So in Star Trek Enterprise, which nobody watched, there was a
That's true.
plot about these time traveling aliens, basically, and it kind of reminded me of this because like they didn't know anything about them and they could barely detect them. They just knew they were probably time traveling aliens, which is like, I feel like what should have happened in this movie is like not only is there the TEC with like immediate problems, like the fucking people we know are doing this stuff, but shouldn't there also have been like decades and decades and decades down the road, like we're also dealing with all those people
Yeah.
and like we're having consultations with like TEC agents from 50, 60 years in the future. I mean, it makes the movie impossibly complicated when you start thinking that way, because then like of course you have to have that, but like those TEC agents can't like divulge information to the, I don't know.
Rick and Morty has a scene like that where it's like, oh, we'll go back to kill Hitler, and then it's just endless time traveler after time traveler trying to stop that first person from killing Hitler. Because like everybody would suddenly pile onto these significant events, right?
Right.
You'd be lousy. Like society would only function to just keep the TEC going, right? Because that's the only way you could keep everybody safe.
Right.
God.
Fuck, I hate Time Cop.
Fantastic.
Great movie.
Matthew, do you want to give your prediction?
So my prediction was that he would go back in time and have sex with himself. Just because, I don't know. That's a thing you would do. Look at him. Look at that butt. Look at those splits.
Now neither of them will be virgins.
And essentially, I thought the way that it would end is the villain would get trapped in the past in some sort of a time loop, or like they would essentially they would go back to the world of Back to the Future 3 in that old Western world and just leave him there. And then that's just his life. He has to live there for the rest of his days, which would have been funny. But mostly I just want to watch Back to the Future 3 again. Make it happen.
Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. My prediction for it was he was always gonna go back to the 1980s where he would blend in with his mullet because mullets were a fashion statement back then, and he'd just be a real cool guy. I also thought that the villain was going to be Jean-Claude Van Damme, but from the future, which is also preventing the present Jean-Claude Van Damme from catching the criminal. So there's always this like feedback loop of them battling each other. But present day Jean-Claude Van Damme wouldn't know his enemy, whoever he's chasing, was the future Jean-Claude Van Damme because he always appeared one step ahead. So I thought there would be a feedback loop, but it was not that. It was dumber than what I thought.
Yeah, I wanted at least one version of Jean-Claude with like an eye patch and he's all grizzled and saying, "You don't know what you're doing."
Just always evil. And Dylan's prediction was that this movie is about family and how children are the future. He came in late.
It's not wrong. That's literally the last line. Sloane Peterson says, like, "I've got another baby." And then the door closes and it zooms out.
And then Cameron shows up in his Detroit Red Wings jersey and he's like, "Hey," revs the Corvette engine.
He'll keep calling me. He'll keep calling me. I'll go. I'll go. I'll go. I'll go.
I want a Time Cop 2 of like, so he shows up at that. They just like the next Time Cop 2 is Jean-Claude meets his son and he doesn't know what's happened in the past 10 years. And basically the movie is just a gritty family drama where his whole marriage falls apart because he can't remember. It starts off with like, "I told you to get milk on your way home from work, Max." And just like
It's and then the threads just
you didn't remember that. Oh, you can't remember your son's name. You can't remember his birthday. You can't remember that vacation we went to Disneyland. And then their marriage just disintegrates and that's it.
Well, because like that version of Max Walker is an alcoholic who doesn't spend time at his house, right? Like,
Does he turn into Russell Crowe?
Oh my God.
Unhinged?
It can happen to anyone.
Why?
But have you ever heard of a courtesy honk?
it's like
And then he gets Fortnited.
So there was actually a Time Cop 2. I was doing some digging into this. It was a straight to DVD sequel. The premise, okay, so first off, it stars Jason Lee, and the premise is he goes back to kill Hitler. Because that is apparently what anybody focuses on when it comes to time travel.
fucking fine.
Yeah, actually.
You know that
Funny.
I don't think we're gonna watch it. I don't think we can put ourselves through another Time Cop.
I think we should have started with it, to be honest with you.
Is there a Time Cop 3?
No, but there's the Time Cop video game for Super Nintendo, which is apparently a sequel to Time Cop because he's trying to also prevent some type of Time Cop or time issues. I don't really know. I just know there's a video game that takes place after the original movie.
Let me take a guess. Developed by Ocean?
No clue, but it reminded me of two games. It was The Phantom, if you ever played that for, I think it was Sega Genesis. It was a side
Why
scroller.
does this keep coming up?
Look,
Why
nobody-
does this keep coming up?
Nobody likes the Phantom.
'Cause
Nobody.
I don't think I beat the game, and it's like it's still in my head. Like I remember the part where I got stuck, and I just don't have that closure for the video game of knowing how it ends. I'm probably sure I can like watch it on YouTube to see someone go through it in the next hour, but
That's actually one of the only games that's never been uploaded to YouTube because nobody likes the Phantom.
Except for us.
We're gonna Google that after.
Yeah, we are good.
Yeah.
That's a good
Another time fact about Timecop. This was Jean-Claude Van Damme's highest grossing film. So we're just talking. We were talking about that previously because he did back to back.
Cut it out earlier when we were talking, because when you mention it now, it's going to be weird.
Keep going. Let's hear it.
Do you want me to keep going? You want me to keep going with these time facts?
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
I'm loving this.
You put a lot of work into this.
I did my research, guys. I stayed up late. I tried to write an intro for Dylan that I read, and I also did some research into Timecop. So Timecop.
Cut that out too, so we look professional.
No, they get the dark and gritty details of this podcast. So Timecop actually beat The Shawshank Redemption in the box office.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
People should not be allowed to watch movies.
So the first 2 weeks of release, Timecop sat at the #1 spot in the box office and made $101 million.
Oh my god.
Shawshank.
That is so much money in '94.
And Shawshank only made $58 million. The main reason for this is because of how it was marketed and the posters. So think about like the poster for Timecop. You got Jean-Claude Van Damme and it says Timecop. You knew exactly what you were going to get with this movie. But Shawshank, you got a man with the rain beating down on his chest. Name's confusing. Who's going to watch that? So Timecop, #1 movie.
It had a pretty good trailer too. I'll have to admit the Timecop had they at least cut it together that it looked interesting. Like I would watch that.
Got our attention.
That was the effort. That's where they put all their effort, is to just edit the trailer so people will go in to watch it. They didn't focus anything else on the movie.
Well, clearly, and it shows. Fuck Timecop.
Last
More time facts.
Last time fact for you. The producer for this movie was Sam Raimi. We were all surprised when we saw that name come up. This was probably his first comic book movie that he produced on, and this could have started his role of producing more and more comic book movies, because I think he did Darkman and then he did Spider-Man right after that. So this may have kicked off Sam Raimi's comic book.
Wait, he didn't work for 7 years?
Sorry, like this started the kick for Sam Raimi to focus on comic book movies.
Like, did he jump from like, I want to produce Timecop to fuck this industry to Spider-Man? Is that what happened?
No. There's
Darkman
was in there too.
Darkman was later. Let's talk about the greatest time travel movie of all time, besides Back to the Future 3.
Looper?
Army of Darkness. Also a Sam Raimi film.
Is that time travel? Or is that a dimensional jump?
He goes back in time. And then he goes forward in time, but he didn't speak all the words correctly.
But it's like demons and stuff.
Deadites. Evil.
But is the implication that exists in the world that I guess it does.
It checks out. I've done a lot of research on this too.
Okay.
And you guys aren't the only ones who can do research. I can look up facts as well. I mean, I didn't, but I could.
Yeah, you didn't look up.
For example, investing in nuclear bombs, highly lucrative.
Oppenheimer, I want to buy.
Zeppelins. They're the next best means of transportation.
Yeah, you know what this movie was missing? It needed some hot air balloon travel. That's what this really needed.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
To get yourself out of danger. Oh, shit. I'm out of here. Off of the hot air balloon. Like, that has to be like the Deus Ex Machina of the 90s, which is hop in a fucking hot air balloon. Get out of there.
Just leave. Anyways, let's have some more time facts.
No, that was about it. I was going to propose a question to you guys while we were watching this, or while we were going through this episode. I had a question for you, but I don't know if it's relevant anymore. I wanted to know which movie that we've watched previously has approached time travel in the best way. So Ninja Turtles 3 or Timecop? Which one had the best
Those are
approach?
the only two movies we've seen in time
What about
travel?
Total Recall? That's kind of time.
Paycheck?
Total
Recall.
I mean, paycheck, obviously, that makes the most sense. You shoot a laser around the curvature of the
It
universe.
reads your palm, and
Street.
then that's
Palm Street. Yeah.
Crystal ball.
And you get like 40 seconds.
This machine cost $3 trillion.
Not even 40 seconds. You get like 10 seconds.
3 was like very straightforward with their time travel, and there was like no questions about it. It just worked.
So you're saying
magic lamp.
Ninja Turtles 3 had straightforward time travel rules?
No. because they had the logical quandary of the same number of people had to be holding the lantern at the same time.
Yeah.
And they
Very
said explicitly
straightforward.
at the same time in a movie that was about time travel. You're like, what the fuck does that mean when you're dealing with time travel at the same time at different times?
Well, yeah. Okay. So think about last week when you were going for a walk. Let's say.
It makes perfect sense when you got a split screen and 4 Japanese like honor guards are holding it, and then 4 Ninja Turtles are holding it. But they said, yeah, the same number of people have to be holding it at the same time, and you're like, wait a second, this is a time travel. Time travel don't work.
It's more reasonable than time travel.
Anyway, at least they got soul magic
This
in
has
that
no
one.
soul.
This one's got none.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
There is
So I
tolerant
guess-
revenge in this movie. Though.
Paycheck wins.
Paycheck,
Was
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Paycheck wins by default.
He gets revenge on the senator.
Yeah, but he wasn't intolerant.
The senator was very intolerant because he broke that guy's nose and he shot that other guy. Those are the only 2 evil things that he did.
But that wasn't like
That's pretty intolerant to shoot someone. That is peak intolerance. Murder. That's right up there.
Yeah, but he was a supporter of universal health care and Black Lives Matter. Those were his 2 top policies if he became president.
wasn't he the white supremacy group?
No, there was a white supremacy group that we did not mention. We
Oh
just
my God.
glossed over that one.
There was? I don't even remember.
Okay,
Yeah.
I missed that plot point.
Oh,
So
right.
when Jean-Claude Van Damme goes back to his future house and he has a future nap on his couch while he's watching future TV, there's a clip saying that the white supremacy group has now enough funds to run for Tennessee as well.
Yeah. Is that referring to him then? Because he got the money
No,
from the past.
different group.
Oh.
The,
But
McCone,
then why would you mention it if it's a different group?
because I think it's showing how bad the future is, like how bad
Oh, yeah, that
2004
makes
is,
sense.
because it's kind of a dystopia. But you don't really get that. You don't get that larger scale with Timecop, right? Because we're just so focused on their factory of where time travel is going to be taking place, and then it's in specific locations. We don't see how the world is affected, how bad 2004 is. We just know people are wearing metal shin pads and have hoop earrings and oversized jackets. That's it.
2 dudes.
2 dudes. Everyone else was normal.
Totally normal.
So in the dystopian future of 2004, there's white supremacists actively involved in politics. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, there was a lot of weird parallels with what's going on.
Yeah.
It's just we had time
it's
traveling
really
Trump.
disheartening.
That's what was
Yeah.
basically happening in this movie.
About as competent too. I can see Trump getting kicked into himself in a time travel scenario.
Are we living in one of Jean-Claude Van Damme's time ripples right now? Is that what happened?
It's possible.
The first thing you should know is that the matter, it cannot occupy the same space. And if it occupies the same space, you're going to get nullified, okay?
Many people are saying if you occupy the same space with the same matter, you will be nullified.
I got the best people, and everyone says, if I get kicked into myself, I will be nullified. And this is what we're trying to avoid.
Give it up for time travel, folks. We love time travel, don't we? Don't we, folks? We love time travel. I love it. I went down to the White House the other day and I said, time travel, it's big. It's big. Many people are saying. Okay, I'm done. No more.
We're so topical.
And that's where we end
We
after
went back in
hours.
time. We raised more money, traveled through time, robbing gold carriages than any presidential candidate in the history of American politics.
Bunch of dudes, white, racist, fat fucks clapping in the audience. Yeah! Cut that part out. I don't want the white, racist, fat fucks to hear me say that.
I'll let him come after us. Let him come after us. Declare your allegiance. Anyway, that was Grindhouse Courthouse for this week. Thank you for joining. Timecop. Smartest movie of 1994?
Maybe.
I have looked at a lot of porn at my job.
We could have seen the hairs of his anus.
Is that a positive?
Randy, jacking off at your desk again. Come on.
You office trickster, making me look at your erect penis again.
This is the easiest way to make money. But yeah, just a real cool guy. Real cool guy that just wants to help.
But he just says, have a nice day. And then that's it.
Get the purse and the bag to lady.
What if killing Hitler isn't so bad?
Does he?
So is it more you shouldn't kill Hitler than you can't?
It's frowned upon.
But flip it now.
I'm a star boy.
But the bodies hit the floor.
Up and at 'em. Up and at them.
Another time fact.
Why does this keep coming up?
Look,
why
nobody-
does this keep coming up?
Nobody likes the Phantom. Nobody.
I think mullets are due for a resurgence.
Yes.
My husband would never have a mullet, ever!
More time facts.
Liquid nitrogen. Liquid nitrogen was a big thing in old 90s action movies, right?
I can look up facts as well. I mean, I didn't, but I could. Give it up for time travel, folks. We love time travel, don't we? Don't we, folks? We love time travel. I love it.
God, fuck that guy.